Hey everybody, this is Dan for Game D on Cars. Now we are continuing our hot streak to start 2020. We are looking at today a 2020 Toyota Supra. This is one of the launch editions. It is one of 1,500 that were first sold to the U.S. public. This car has a 3-liter inline 6-cylinder engine, 335 horsepower, 365 foot-pounds of torque. This car will go 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds. Now, we're going to do a full walk around, tell you all the specs. We're going to talk a little bit about the history of the Supra and how some people are not so welcoming to this car as it's come back after a 20-year absence in the United States. It looks absolutely beautiful in Renaissance red. So we're going to take a look at the Supra. Here we go. Now, I have borrowed this car from Klick Lewis Chevrolet Buick in Palmyra, Pennsylvania. They're right on East Main Street here in Palmyra, Pennsylvania, just a little bit east of Hershey, PA. If you're in the market for a Chevy or Buick, you have to come here. They have over 350 cars in stock. You name it, they got it. And this Supra was traded in with under 1,000 miles. I don't know what the guy bought or lady bought instead of it, but go check out Klick Lewis Chevrolet Buick and let's start the review. Now, first we're going to talk a little bit of history about the Toyota Supra. Now, the Supra, the Mark IV from the 90s, is a legendary Japanese tuner car. They got such fame from being in the Fast and Furious movie, the orange one. Had such easy tunability in the 90s, and it was one of the best Japanese sports cars from the 90s. Now it went out of sale from 98. This is the Mark V that was just new for 2020. People always teased it had come back around. It's sort of like the Acura NSX. It was a great car in the 90s, but they stopped making it, and then it came back in the 15 plus, I'll just say, in the 10s. So when this car was first announced, people were upset, and the reason is that it was partnered with BMW. This is essentially a reskinned BMW Z4, but that car has 380 horsepower, and this car is detuned a little bit to 335. So they're thinking, why does the BMW Coupe have more power than this? It has a legendary straight 6 from BMW, and if you're partnering with BMW, the best thing you could probably do is use their straight 6 engines, because that is what BMW is known for. So initially they were like, well, why would they partner up with BMW? It's not made in Japan. This car is made in Austria, where other BMWs are made. And just the reception was bad, and then the concept car was pretty funky looking. I thought it was kind of cool, but the styling that we'll talk about in a little bit really echoes what it looked like in the front. So then the other thing that people were upset about is that it did not have a manual transmission, which is what people love. All the tuners, save the manuals. So it sort of, I'm not going to say it started out as a deficit, but as a first attempt of a sports car here in 2020, which there's lots of competition. We're gonna check it out, and I have no prejudgments. I'm not gonna say, oh, this thing is it's gonna drive like crap. It's just from driving it over here, it feels very small on the inside. It almost feels like a muscled up Miata, if I could say that, if that makes sense. So Car and Driver recently did a comparison between this car and a Mustang GT 350, which is right over there, and a BMW M2 competition and a Porsche Cayman 718, and this car finished second behind the Mustang, which I'm not a Mustang guy, but that car has the sound. This car probably has the overall, agility and, nice sports car, driving characteristics, which we will find out today. So this car beat a Porsche Cayman, which is sort of kind of what that is right there, and a BMW M2 competition. And if you know my channel, you know how much I love the BMW M2 competition. So if this car is better than that, they've got quite a start in their hands. Now, as I said before, this car is new for 2020. Toyota is coming out with a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder Supra that has the same engine that BMW 3 Series has, with 255 horsepower. This has 335, but I guarantee you in the next year or two, Toyota is going to come out with the engine that is going to be in the next M4 that is currently in the X3M and X4M. That engine starts at 473 horsepower, and when the competition trim, it can go up to 503 horsepower. So this car will eventually have 500 horsepower, I'm guessing, and it will probably go 0 to 60 in something like 3.5, I'm going to say, if this one already has 335 horsepower and goes 0 to 60 in 4.1. So we're going to see if this is a good start to the Supra, okay? It's going to get a 4-cylinder, and it's going to get a more powerful 6-cylinder engine. So this could be a great start to the revival of the Supra. So let's talk about the styling. All right, now that we have the history of the Supra out of the way, we're going to talk about the styling. Now, this car I want to say it's sort of small, but it looks bigger than it really is. And the front, I think, looks really good. Just look how the LEDs, you can see them on right there. And when the turn signal on, this whole thing is lit up like the, like the turn signal. It's got a sort of like a 6 little cluster of the xenon lights. Now, the front end really does look like the concept car that had just the 3 little intakes here. Now, this car, I'm going to be honest, and I did my research in this car. There is fake vents all over this car because Toyota knows that there's such a tuning market for this car. They're definitely going to hook this up, as it gets the bigger engine and tuning companies get a hold of it. Like this right here is a fake vent. This right here is a fake vent. They actually deleted out some of the front air dam there just so tuning companies could switch it and make it a little more, higher breathing. But this launch edition has this sort of front little lip right here. So Michelin tires, beautiful wheels. I love look how big the calipers are. Beautiful 19-inch wheels. Now moving around to the side, I think this might be the best angle of the car right here. Just so you can see that back fender looks so good right there and sticks out. I think the back end might actually look better than the front end. They still have the same Supra font that they did in the 90s, which I think looks really good. You've got 2 big exhaust pipes. We're going to do an exhaust clip in a little bit, but I just think it looks so good. The Mark IV from the 90s had like the 3 taillights in the back, and this is sort of like an updated version of that, and I think they look really good. You've got the nice subtle little spoiler right there. I know that the tuning companies, the Mark IV had the legendary bigger, wing, but all the tuning companies are gonna create that. But just look, there's so much going on. The lights stick out right there. The dovetail or ducktail spoiler sticks out a little bit. Just this back angle looks so good. So as far as the styling goes, I really like it. It just looks aggressive. This right there, this is the reverse light. Looks like an F1 style rain light. I just think it looks really good. You've also got the double bubble roof on the top, if you can tell right there. That's just for a little bit more headroom on the inside. But I just think when I saw this in person for the first time, I was like, man, it looks really good compared to what you see in the pictures. So I'm really impressed with what it's going to look like. And then in the back of my mind, I think how they're going to sort of kick it up a notch when they do the bigger engines and better performance for downforce, and it just looks good. This sort of line that comes like right there looks so good. So the inside is very much BMW, but first let's take a look at the engine. Alright, now this is a look at the engine. Now it's kind of funny that you see that this 3-liter inline 6, which is a BMW engine, has the Toyota logo on it, but you can see around the car there's little BMW logos, a couple different places. That's the first one that I found, but you don't really have to look that hard to see, that it is a BMW engine. I like just a little script right here. But yeah, this is the B58 engine, if we're gonna get nerdy, and the S58 I think is the engine that's going to be in the M4 coming up. So that is the engine right there. Now this car, like I said, will go 0 to 60 in like 4.1 seconds, which is pretty damn impressive for a car that has 335 horsepower. Now they said that number is pretty conservative, almost like it would be somewhere up closer to what the Z4 has with this exact engine, which is like 382 horsepower. That the BMW M340 also has this engine too. But yeah, it just looks pretty big, and I can't wait to see what else they put underneath the hood of this, in the coming years. But yeah, it just pops up over the fender right here. So yeah, that is the engine of the Supra. All right, let's take a look at the trunk. Now this is the key to the Supra, and there's no button on the back here to open up the trunk. It's only in the front of the door. So if we open up right there, you can You can open it up. Now, just in doing my research, this opening is pretty small, honestly. It kind of looks like a couple generations ago Camaro. I mean, this is the opening right here, and there's room you can fit stuff under here. And there's sort of like the speakers, but yeah, it is wide open into the front of the car. Nice little strut brace right there for just to help with performance. But yeah, not the biggest, but if you're buying this car, I mean, this is not going to be the only car that you're gonna carry all your things with, so I think it could be adequate. Nice little tonneau cover right here. So there's the button to get out of the trunk, which if you're locked in the trunk of a Supra, I don't know what is going on with your life. So that is the trunk of the Supra, and you just see how that spoiler just kind of sticks up right there. This car would look really nice with the Mach 4 type spoiler. So yeah, that is the trunk of the Supra. Alright, let's take a look at the interior. Alright, as you go into the Supra, you got a nice little kick plate here. It's hard to see in the camera, but it has that same Supra script. Now, this car feels pretty low, and it feels very, very sort of cozy and intimate in here. I'm just going to close the door. It looks like a bigger car than it is on the outside. It just feels pretty tight in here. I'm not going to say it's starved for space, but you've got nice carbon fiber trim right here. Now here it is, the ZF 8-speed automatic, which, you know, every BMW I've ever reviewed has that. It is not a dual clutch. It is a normal torque converter automatic, and this car really screams BMW, and I do not think that is a bad thing. Okay, you got the paddles up here. It says GR Supra Launch Edition. So this is number 1435 of 1500. This is one of the 1500 of the first cars sold in the US. I don't know exactly where this one was sold to start, because this is a used car. So yeah, the screen looks exactly like a BMW. It's an 8.8 inch screen. Same BMW switchgear here, all this stuff, you know, light controls, you know, everything looks pretty good. The steering wheel, I gotta be honest, I'm not that crazy. It feels, I like the feel of it, but just this sort of area right here, I don't know, that might be all Toyota. So the carbon fiber looks really good. This is the BMW iDrive controller, and yeah, I think some of the launch edition cars had red door over here, but a black door over there. This one, I guess, just has the full black leather, but it feels nice. I think that double bubble really helps the headroom, because this area that you're looking out of the car seems pretty small. Like, I don't think any car that I've been in, just the windshield looks so small. But the seats are nice. Yeah, you got the nice silver trim on the seats. It's kind of like, this feels like, I'm just thinking, it looks like a Corvette in the sense that you have the two seats and then just nothing behind you. But I don't know, this is nice. I think the materials are nice, the quality is nice. We're definitely going to try out this sport button. You could definitely hear from the exhaust that it sounds better once you put that on. So we're going to get, later I'm going to do an exhaust clip, but I'm going to start it up right here. Oh, it says the trunk is open. So I'm going to insert the exhaust clip right here. So this car has the sport button, and if I go into sport, you can definitely hear the difference. Okay, ready? Alright, it must be just because the car is warmed up. But yeah, we're in sport mode, and you can see the dials changed a little bit. You've got your miles per hour over here and your centrally located tachometer, which is nice. You've got the fuel on the left, temperature on the right. Everything's simple enough, you know, don't think you need anything else. It's just funny how the font is even the same as like a BMW. But yeah, this is the familiar iDrive map, menu, media, just everything like a BMW, and that is fine. I do not have a problem with that. You've got a touch screen here. That is not, I'm not going to say it's a deterrent of the BMW. Their infotainment systems are very nice. I don't have any problems with them. It doesn't scream Toyota at all, except for this right here, which is the badge. So yeah, this is pretty nice. Alright, so this is going to wrap up my little walk around of a 2020 Toyota Supra. Now, as a car guy, I was very excited to see this car come back into sale for the United States, after all the legendary, tuner Supras out there, 2JZ engine freaks. I think this car has the appearance and the performance, specs, I haven't driven it yet, just to compete with all the other cars. I think it looks just as good as a, an M2 competition or even like a Cayman. It just has that extra little flair, that I'm such a fan of BMWs. It was kind of cool for me personally to see this car come back as a Toyota, but as a partnership with BMW, because I've enjoyed them both. So we're going to take this car out on the road and see what it's like to drive. That will fully cement my opinion of this car. But this launch edition with the red and the black wheels, I love it. I'm a sucker for red. So do not forget to go check out Klick Lewis Chevy Buick in Palmyra, PA. They're one of the best Chevy dealers in the state. Go check them out. I will put their website right here and in the description below. Big thank you to them for letting me have access to this car. So let's get this thing out on the road. Thanks for watching. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at GetMeDonCars, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.